Good afternoon, respected Vice Chancellor and other dignitaries of this university, Dr. Bimlendra Kumar, scholars present here, faculty members, members of organizing committee, and all students. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. Uh, I'm going to try today on speak on women, what perspective Rahul Sankrityayan ji talks about women. When I was just going through it, when Dr. Animesh contacted me and this was the thing which was going on in mine, I was trying to find out on net. So there are 2-3 articles I could found on the feminism. There is one scholar who has worked on specially Volga to Ganga, this thing. But then I decided, okay, maybe I'm not aware. I'll give a try to it. As it's written, we have discussed, Dr. Maya Joshi has given us an rough this thing about the travel or about his journey. And it is interesting to note down, what are Rahul Sankrityayanji's views on women, Sometimes it becomes very difficult to find out. We do get few quotes here and there. I decided not to touch his dramas because I thought it will be, such a short notice, it would have become too much for me to deal with. So I decided to focus mainly on his 4 works right now. Gumakkar Shastra, all of us are discussing right from the morning. Volga to Ganga, yes, I do agree. There is one scholar who has worked on the feminist aspect of on this particular book. And then I tried to include Marxwad and Ramrajya and my 3rd expedition to Tibet. So where, he has discuss little bit about women, but as I said, very difficult. So I personally felt that there is a need of all these works to be digitization, when any scholar needs to find out. But anyway, this is the thing. I'll start with Gumakkar Shastra, in this particular Gumakkar Shastra, as we can say, it can be a wandering Shastra. I mean, he focuses, wandering is a universal dharma, there's no record of anyone joining this, or even youth and women of his country, he feels that should become wanderers. That's what we are discussing, it is a for matter of happiness. And this is not the case, women should not join because she's a woman or she's lacking any patience or she lacks the resolve to travel to unknown directions and country. Rahul Sankrityayan feels that where women are not bound to this thing, what can we say, shackles of slavery, and women do not shy away from adventurous journey. So he's always encouraging women also, why only American or European women should travel. He focuses that, Indian women also, start going for travel. Of course, he's saying, the issue cannot be dismissed by saying that the European races are far ahead in education and maybe culture, but if they have progress, we too should not lag behind. But there is no dearth of women travelers in Asia also. So at that time, Rahul Sankrityayan ji has tried to say it. These are a few quotes. I have this thing, but as I said, he also mentions about, in 1634, he came across 2 ladies, 2 young ladies who were traveling and who were from China. And he was very surprised, to find out, they were not afraid of anything. And I mean, they were not educated or something like that. They were not that extraordinary. They were the brave women, So after seeing them, he thought that, why can't our young women also should start traveling? So that was related to maybe the traveling or wandering was concern. He always feels that there is an equal right, as much as men, the women should have an equal right. or women should not feel themselves as maybe inferior. That's what he also says. Generation after generation comes, women too keep changing like men. And he says, independent women used to live in India, and right now also he feels, right now also they should come out of their whatever this thing and start traveling. That's what his this thing was. Uh, a totally different approach he has taken regarding the women's travel in this thing. As I said, even he mentions about religious scriptures, how religious scriptures, often contradict with true women's rights, or the social structure which has prevented women from traveling, or women's liberation and movement which are changing nowadays with societal norms. That's what he focuses on. This particular point I have discussed. I'll just skip it a little bit because I think that I have added too much. I'm just trying to discuss it in a brief. But yes, there are few challenges we all know, and these are very common, commonly discussed on any platform where the feminism is discussed, childbirth and marriages often restrict freedom. And of course, there are safety concerns which were always there. Those have discouraged women from traveling, and but Rahul Sankrityayan, he has always supported, ki all these things should not be restricted. That's what, when I was reading all his things and trying to find out, what are the roles of women and what he wants to say. So we can see he's always encouraging. He talks about, how even Buddha, Buddha's perspective also he tries to give. We all know initially Buddha was reluctant. All those stories he discusses, and he warned, but at the same time he warned about the challenges, of male and male-female interactions in our this thing, and how Buddha acknowledged that women are equal, maybe in spiritual potential, and how they should be independent, of course, with responsibilities. So all these points also Rahul Sankrityayan ji discusses viewpoints of Buddha about women, and he has given some advice, especially for women wanderers, as I said, that women should prepare themselves very well, when they are about to start any journey, or, they should also be a gumakkar, or and education and skill building are crucial, of course. He is worried about the safety, as he suggests, it's better, to travel in a group or something. Three can enhance the safety. That's what he discusses. But ultimately, it is very, very, very clear, that women should start traveling, as in our society also. The women's role is changing with every new generation, or with all the education. It's changing. That's what I felt that emphasize more was on when whatever he discusses in his Gumakkar Shastra. We'll go to our next this thing work, Marxwad and Ram Rajya. So in Marxwad and Ram Rajya, he's very vocal about the way women are made to behave, or the way they are conducted by their family, if they are married at the age of 9 and 10, or, and they are maybe bound behind the veil. So he's very, very clear about all those things. He also discusses all the scriptures. Scriptures are, of course, important. We have discussed it earlier also. So all those things are very much there in that particular this thing. And he talks about, restriction of communication, which is very important. He uses Marx philosophy into this particular perspective, convey his opinion that how women are perceived and what are the possibilities are in lay for your independence. So then moving the next, he also gives this thing on sharing the responsibilities. He is very clear. He says पर सब काम एक तरफा नहीं होना चाहिए, पुरुष को भी इसमें हाथ बटाना चाहिए. And all those quotes are clearly this thing, which examples he gives, like women, Gargi, Madalsa, Lilavati, in wisdom they were no less than men. And he gives the example of how Yagyavalkya defeated Margao not for the force but by the threat of falling ahead. So this was related. We do have all these examples given in Marxwad and Ramrajya. So it's a totally different theory he's trying to apply. Of course, Marxist thought on gender, this thing, but dependence is systematic and economic in nature, and he is insisting for structural reform and empowerment of women. And of course, the most popular book is Volga to Ganga. Here we can find the clear quotes I have given here, for the better understanding. So, he says, he talks about the women which are there in Buddhism. For example, he's giving the example of Vishakha or Mallika Devi, Mallika Devi, or he's talking about the class of women of Shravasti. Mallika Devi is the consort for Prasenjit, and she was a disciple of Buddha. And even Vishakha, who was also a daughter-in-law of a great merchant. So he gives those examples also. And he's also critique, he says, we must be we must think of justice. As human beings we have a duty to do, but we must fix our minds on doing what is right. So his approach is little critique in this particular when he talks about women, and he says there's no race in the world which does not believe in some religion, but has to make people remember that a slave is a human being. Let alone slavery, think of women, even free women. Has a religion ever done them justice? If you have money, you can marry 2 wives, 4 wives, 10, 100, they will know. They will be no better than slaves, and religion has nothing to say against his. That's what he talks about in his book Volga to Ganga. So his views on slavery are much more clear. Slavery and women, in my country, a man with several wives can be seen occasionally, he says. It is rare, but I felt that it pointed out the way towards the enslavement of women. So his viewpoints on slavery and women, and of course he has given his opinion about the widowhood and sati. He was very much he used to oppose burning alive of widows, and he's expressed his viewpoints about the practice of sati. And also he talks about hypocrisy in society, the social norms which promoted chastity outwardly but allowed corruption within the religious, what should we say, institution. And he was open to say, the impact of patriarchal system, or rather Brahminical patriarchal system can be seen in our society. That's what we have always discussed right from the beginning. And he was insisting for justice, justice moving beyond the religious dogma. So that's what his viewpoints were. So it's a little this thing. This is again in his next work, My Third Expedition to this thing. He also gives some advice to women. Women, for example, modern women must create their own history by breaking barriers and embracing intellectual and physical freedom. So it's a totally different this thing. If you look at this thing, he's insisting on the right to wander on all these four this thing. If we see, he has seen wandering as a universal dharma. That's what we have. discuss. He has rejected the belief that women are incapable. We have already discussed this, as we have seen this particular point also, that he was a critique of patriarchy and religious. He applied Marxist analysis, that was also there, and he highlighted the figures which are there in history, or which were there very much in Buddhism, and he has tried to condemn the practices which like sati and widow, this thing he was openly criticized, maybe we can say, all these practices, and he has criticized the main's resistance to legal reforms like equal inheritance right, encourage women to seek education, and he has advocated, we have seen the example how he has advocated there should be equal this thing, and we can sense it, he has a different, totally different vision, maybe we can, for the future. For example, when he says that no one can dictate the course of future generation, he predicted that women's progress was unstoppable and young women should be breaking the societal chains, and he had identified the three generation of women's progress, breaking the veil, education, entering the profession. So he's very much clear about his. So, all these are the key points we have seen, and and he is very clear, when he says the future belongs to those who dare to change. So he's openly saying, we need to change. His legacy is to inspire the equality, gender equality, maybe we can say. So it's much more clear. So his vision, I mean, the way he has criticized, this is the very, what should I say, very amazing contribution at that time. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.